So today we're taking a look at Old Man Indy. So Dial of Destiny Indy's coming up today. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of things I like with this figure, but you can definitely see the years and the mileage. Let's take a look now. Hi there, Chris the Geek figure fan here. Today we're back with another Indiana Jones Adventure Series review. And we're over the halfway point now on Wave 2. So we've only got 2 more figures and the Build an Artifact to go. So today we're looking at the first of 2 Dial of Destiny figures from the Wave 2 set. And we do have 2 more Dial of Destiny figures coming in Wave 3 as well. So I'll have 4 total from the new movie. But this first one is the only character we really care about, isn't it? It's Indiana Jones. It's the Dial of Destiny Indy. Let's take a quick look at the box first and then we'll get stuck into it. No surprises with this box. It is a good looking box as always. I love the colour scheme. I love the look of it. I will say that on the side where the poster style artwork is, it's not one of my favourites. I'd say it's probably a little bit tame, a little bit boring, not much going on in it. It does have a little picture of Indy during that, that whip scene at the auction, but even then, it doesn't really look like there's a great deal going on in the picture. The other side has images of all the other figures from the wave, and the back has a picture that shows all the accessories that come with it as well. And that's combined with the photorealistic 3D renderings that's on the front and the back. Anyway, let's get this box open, let's get the figure out, and let's start having a proper look. Let's take a look at the figure first. So the jacket and the torso are the same as the Raiders of the Lost Ark figure. The head has got good articulation, moves left and right exactly as you'd expect. There's really good wing shoulder movement on this figure, and there's a really good single joint in the elbow and movement in the wrist as well. There's good movement in the torso and in the hips. You've got the movers on the tops of the legs. You've got a single joint in the knee. You've got sideways movement there as well, and also movement in the ankles. So pretty standard articulation for this style of figure. So with this one, we've got a removable satchel. So that's really good. I think it's a different satchel design to the others. And I'll be honest, I don't know why, but I really like this satchel. I think the shape of it sits better against Indy's body. And I think it's just a better looking satchel than we've seen on the other figures. There's also a change to the way the whip attaches to the belt. And I think this is a massive improvement too. I think this is a nice looking whip, a slightly darker colour. And it just pushes onto the belt like a little peg and hole method of doing that. And it just sits there nicely. I'm really impressed that they've changed that, because there was issues with the belt hooking on through that sort of strap method that they'd used before. And then there's a really interesting rucksack that comes with him as well. It's a nice looking backpack. I like the leather look on it as well. There's a really interesting lantern there as well, a torch that he uses sort of throughout the third act, or through part of the third act. So that's a really good bit of kit. And I'm so impressed that we finally have a snake. It's taken 2 waves, and it's not even a real snake. It's a snake that goes on the top of the Shankara Stone Shrine. But, we finally have some sort of snake accessory with Indy. Yeah, so let's get this figure on display. Let's get him into some poses, and we'll have a chat about what I think. So yeah, first impressions. I really like the colour scheme of his clothing. I think the darker trousers work really well. And I think it was smart keeping the same body from the Raiders of the Lost Ark figure, because it looks exactly as you'd expect. The jacket and the shirt don't look out of place at all on this figure. And I have to say that this is a really impressive head sculpt. I think it's a really good likeness of Harrison Ford. And it gives a good impression of him being considerably older than his other figures. I'm not sure if it really goes far enough. It's almost a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull look to his face. Perhaps a tad older, but yeah, I don't see an 80-year-old Indy here. But regardless, I think it's a good detailed face sculpt. I think it gives a good impression of Harrison Ford. I like the grey hair sticking out the back of the non-removable hat. I really like this satchel bag. I think it's so much better than the satchel bags that we see on the previous figures. I think it's a better size, and I love the colouring on it. Again, everything's just slightly darker with this figure, and it just feels more lived in. So yeah, very impressed with how that looks. And now we see him with the large rucksack on and the torch. This rucksack's a really cool accessory, actually. It might be one of my favourite accessories out of the whole wave. It feels clearly a really large, premium accessory, and they've put so much effort into the detail of it. You can open it, there's a rope inside. There's loads of little accessories that you can see and you can make out. There's real detail to it. I like this torch as well that you can see him holding. I think that's a really detailed accessory as well. It's very effective, and it reminiscent of the torch that he's obviously using in the movie as well. But I honestly think the best part of this figure is how they've clearly listened to the fans and they've changed the way that the whip attaches to the belt. So the fact that it is just a simple push in now makes it so much easier to get on and off. It is disappointing that we didn't get an uncurled whip with this one as well. That slightly darker whip, I would love to have seen, an uncurled version of that. However, what they've done is improved the design of these figures, and maybe that's something that we will see bleed into Wave 3. We'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely a forward step. One thing that I don't really understand is why they've left, considering they've had different hands for different figures, and there were spare hands that came with the Raiders of the Lost Ark Indy. Why it is that we've still got a gun hand, a trigger hand on his right hand when there is no gun with it. It doesn't make any sense to me that they would do that, because it makes it really difficult for him to hold anything else. You can see on here, I've actually used the revolver that comes with the Raiders of the Lost Ark Indy, and that's really effective on this figure. I really like seeing him holding that gun. But yeah, it's just odd that they chose to keep the trigger hand with him when there is nothing that involves a trigger in the set at all. It holds the torch okay, but it is quite difficult to get it into his hand when he's got that trigger finger sticking out. I don't have a massive amount to say about this figure. I think at this point, I enjoyed the film for what it was, but there's no draw for these figures for me like there is for figures from the first 3 movies. I think I would have been more excited to have had a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull figure than I am to have had a figure from the new movie. I completely understand why they've done figures for the new movie. It's a no-brainer to tie in figures to a franchise that is releasing a new film. But I don't have the same connection to them other than this Indiana Jones figure, and yeah, I'm not massively excited about any of the remaining figures from the Dial of Destiny sort of set. But that being said, there are a lot of really good parts to this figure. I don't think anything specifically lets it down. I just also don't think that it's the most exciting figure. I think the accessories are really good on it. I think the satchel bag, I think the rucksack and the whip are all excellent. And the snake makes me more excited to build that artifact. So in the next video, I'm definitely going to be building that artifact when I'm also looking at Helena Shaw. So if you're not already subscribed and you want to check out that video when it comes out in a week or 2, please hit the subscribe button. It hugely helps me out. I'm almost at 500 subscribers and it's been fantastic. All of the interest and, subscriptions that I've gotten in the short time that I've been doing this. So please, keep that going. It's incredibly flattering and humbling to have people subscribe to my channel. And also, if you've enjoyed it, please smack that like button. And like I say, just try and keep up to date with the future news and reviews that I'll be releasing. As I said to you, Helena Shaw is next. But if you want to catch up on more of the Indiana Jones figures that I've been reviewing, why don't you check out this video next? Thanks ever so much. Bye bye.